The ocean covers 70% of the planet's surface, and most of the life on Earth is aquatic. Humanity hasn't explored the deep blue in full, but what we've seen so far is incredible. This is the deep blue captured by you. You're about to see the sea's biggest, baddest, and most bizarre through the lens of the internet's best viral video. Welcome to Deep Blue Discovery. Coming up, a spear fisherman's crazy encounter with a great white shark. But first, an attack by a predator with a fearsome reputation. The Red Sea, Egypt. Egypt's Red Sea is a must-see part of the world, especially for scuba diving enthusiasts.
The idea is that you basically sail in the Red Sea and then you do up to 4 dives a day, and you just live on the boat between each dive, and it's a real good holiday if you're into scuba diving.
It was a vacation Dan and his partner went on in late 2018. They were completing their deep dive certificates when the group were joined by a curious shark.
One of the exercises we had to do was a hang tank exercise, where you mimic changing a tank over in an out of air situation. While I was waiting for my turn to complete the exercise, I spotted an oceanic whitetip coming off the reef towards us and circling our boat. So I started filming with the GoPro and alerted all the other divers that I was with to the shark's presence. Obviously, you've got to be cautious around them. It's their territory after all.
Dan and the others were comfortable sharing the water with sharks. They had encountered oceanic whitetips before, and despite their reputation, all the advice suggested being cautious was the best course of action.
The oceanic whitetips, we knew they were around, and yes, they're rated as the 4th most dangerous shark in the world. But from everything all the dive guides and all the local knowledge was telling us, there was no problem. So we acted like there's no problem.
But there did turn out to be a problem. The shark was calm until something spooked it.
The shark was completely placid, fins were raised, and it's a behavioural trait. If any shark's fins are out horizontal, then they're calm, they're chilled, they're just, going about their business, doing what they want to do. It was only because the bubbles came up from a regulator of one of our divers underneath the belly and spooked the shark that it brought its fins down, and then it was in defensive mode. Once it was spooked, it became interested in what spooked it, naturally, and it came to investigate, and as it came down towards the divers, they were aware of it. They came from being in trim position and they went up vertical, which you're supposed to do when you encounter a shark, especially one that's getting close to you. The shark went for the guy's fin, investigating bites, but it didn't actually manage to connect.
Dan's group were then joined by another group of divers. One grabbed the shark's attention, and that's when things turned bad.
They just stayed completely in trim. A couple of people noticed, stopped and went vertical in the water, but one particular diver, the sharks come from beneath him up to the side, came around and bit his leg. And because it was such an easy target, the shark started thrashing on his leg. Went over the top of itself like a cartwheel, and next thing we know, the guy's absolutely hemorrhaging blood everywhere in the water.
Dan stopped filming. With him and his partner still in the water, he knew they had to escape.
I've just seen a man lose a chunk of his limb, and there's a wild animal in the water, and it's home. I was like, I am in somebody else's territory. I cannot win this fight. All I know is my basic training and, fight or flight, really. It was a case of we either get to the reef and get safe, or we could be next.
As they tried to get to safety, a rescue operation was underway to save the victim, who was badly injured.
From what I've been told, he had lost his calf muscle entirely down to the bone. You could see bone and ligaments, and obviously torn muscle and teeth marks. He was hemorrhaging from a vein or an artery of some description. Where we were moored on what's called the Brother Islands, there was also a medic on the island that was brought down and then onto the boat, and they stabilised the diver. And then he was rushed back to Hurghada in Egypt to get emergency surgery. He was then stabilised in the hospital in Hurghada, but he's had some sort of reconstruction.
Dan's diving group returned to their boat safely and moved to a different dive site. He hopes the video can be used as a lesson for other divers. Still to come on Deep Blue Discovery, a spear fisherman standoff with a 4.5 metre monster. Perth, Australia. Spear fisherman Joe Petrovich was heading back to his boat after a successful dive when he encountered a great white shark. What happened next was every diver's nightmare. Shark attacks on spear fishermen do occur. They're often carrying dead or distressed fish, which attracts predators. Some experts think this one was just a warning, an apex predator telling Joe to leave its hunting ground. The terrifying ordeal went on for 9 minutes. When Joe finally got back to his boat, he was somehow uninjured. All he had lost was a fin. TETAMANU Island, French Polynesia. TETAMANU boasts some of the best diving in the world, but what you're about to see is unique. The man behind the camera, James Doughty, wore no protective gear as he dived with these grey reef sharks at night. As they hunted in large numbers, he kept the camera rolling. This is what he captured. San Clemente, California. Cam Brook is an experienced fisherman, but on this occasion, his catch was too hot to handle. He was after smaller prey, but ended up hooking a great white shark. At the end of the video, things got so tense, the camera was knocked over. But we weren't left on a cliff edge for long. Cam was able to break the line and free the shark. Guadalupe Island, Mexico. When it comes to marine life, there's nothing quite like the ocean off Guadalupe. The location itself is a diver's dream, as the great whites in these waters are numerous and enormous. Here's what happens when you dip your camera in the water there. The safest way to see them is from inside a steel cage. That's what photographer Daniel Bardia did. He made it his mission to catch the biggest beasts on camera in stunning high quality. Marathon, Florida. Imagine being on your first ever deep dive and you encounter a great white. That's what happened to Cody Wabazuski. The trainee diver was joined by the 5-meter monster off the coast of Florida. His reaction was priceless.
Yeah, let's get on the boat. We got the shark whisperer. He said he dodged the sharks out in San Diego, and they followed him here.
Port MacDonnell, South Australia. The risk of being attacked by a great white shark is low, but like oceanic whitetips, their reputation precedes them. These sharks get a certain response from people, unlike any other animal on Earth. Darcy Russell was on a fishing vessel off South Australia when he was circled by this inquisitive big guy.
It is in.
Look at that. Oh my god. Oh. Whoa.
Waikiki, Hawaii. Like all of us, great whites will take an easy meal over a challenging one. Joshua Minos was swimming near a sperm whale carcass when a seriously large great white shark turned up to feast on the flesh. Coincidentally, the world's largest great white shark ever caught on camera, known as Deep Blue, was also seen feasting on the carcass. Tiger Beach, the Bahamas. Tiger sharks are common here, but it's unlikely you've seen one like this before. This is a baby shark moving around inside the womb. It was captured by a team of experts studying shark conservation, and getting this footage was not easy. The team, led by Dr. Neil Hammerschlag, first had to catch a tiger shark, and that was no easy task. They then had to hold the shark next to the boat. Using state-of-the-art scanning technology, they were able to get this image instantly, using a VR-style headset. Still to come on Deep Blue Discovery, would you have the courage to save something you're scared of? Cape Cod, Massachusetts. It's not all that unusual to find sharks close to shore, like this tiger deliberately beaching itself to feast on a whale carcass. Great white sharks hunt near the coast too. Unfortunately, open ocean sharks like great whites can get confused in the shallows. And that's a good place to begin Corey Schnabel's story on the Cape Cod coast a few years ago.
That morning, get down to the beach, and there's this massive dune at Whitecrest. And as we're walking down it to get down to the beach, you see this huge crowd of people, and you don't know exactly what's going on there. So you know something's going on. And somebody ran by us and said, "There's a shark."
That shark turned out to be a large great white, and it was in serious trouble.
Somebody ran by us and said, "There's a shark." And we just both looked at each other and we sprinted. And we ran right to it because when do you ever get to see that? And so we ran there, and as you can see in the video, we got there right in the middle of the process of a huge group of people trying to save a great white shark, and ended up being like about a 14-foot great white shark.
The shark was beached, and dozens of people had come together in an attempt to save its life.
What you have going on is really wild. There was a boat out in the water that had a tow line. They were trying to tie it to the shark's tail. There was a stand-up paddle boarder that was sort of aiding in that whole thing. You had a group of, I don't know, tens, maybe even had hundreds of people.
I'm gonna stay up here.
And they were doing things, like putting water over the shark and trying to create, they dug out a trench.
It was a sterling effort by everyone, and the video shows them succeeding in getting the shark back into the sea.
You see everybody, and then you see the shark getting pulled out into the water, and it's incredible. Everybody's cheering, everybody's clapping, and it's a real sort of like joyous thing.
At this point, no one really knew if it was alive or dead, and that posed a problem for a police officer on the beach.
And then you see this cop come in and really kind of, I don't want to say lose his mind, but he's like, I think he kind of dawns on this cop that okay, we have 100 people in the water. There's a 14-foot great white. Who knows if it's dead or alive? And if that thing snaps back to life, it's got 100 pieces of food right there for the taking. And I think that cop really turned it on and yelled at everybody to get out.
But the shark wasn't in any shape to be hunting humans. Sadly, the rescue operation failed.
I think everybody was doing their best to save the shark. But, a shark needs to have water kind of going through gills. But, whereas with a whale, you can keep it on land and keep putting water on it and keep it alive for a little bit. In the end, you kind of realize that if it's not getting that water going through its gills, it's going to die. And ultimately, that is what happened.
No one wants to see such an amazing creature lose its life. But Corey's video is an amazing demonstration of human kindness, bravery, and ingenuity.
The beautiful chaos that we happened upon, it was people trying to save this shark, and you saw just a bunch of people working in concert, working together. What you see in this video is normal beach-going types that happen upon this scene, and they spring into action. And you see a lot of beautiful chaos teamwork that ultimately doesn't, save the shark, but does get the shark back out into the water.
Corey believes he saw something he'll never see again, and he's probably right. While great whites can hunt near the coast, they're very much open ocean sharks. It's extremely rare to see them beached. This one was an inexperienced juvenile. Corey says seeing one of these sharks in person, even in such unpleasant circumstances, was a humbling experience.
I have to admit, it was a really surreal moment for me, just having grown up around there and never having seen anything like that. And then actually, when you actually see a massive great white like that, it really humbles you in a sense, even though this was, I imagine if you see one in the water, it's even that much more of a humbling experience. But that was the day. Didn't go surfing that day. Did not go surfing that day.
The ocean is home to hundreds of thousands of species. Deep Blue Discovery is dedicated to highlighting as many of them as possible. All of the footage you've just seen was shot by members of the public and not specifically for this programme. It just goes to show that you never know what you might encounter if you enter the Deep Blue. Coming up next time on Deep Blue Discovery, it's all things whale, as we lift the lid on why they breach and on the intelligence of belugas.
Wow, they're good.
Oh, where? Oh, good job right here.
All that's coming up next time on Deep Blue Discovery.